I'm continuing work here on the interior of the playhouse for the grandchildren. My vision for this playhouse is somewhere between something you would see popped up in the middle of the woods, something Hansel and Gretel might stumble upon, and Swiss Family Robinson. Swiss Family Robinson holds a great memory for me as a child because it was the only movie I can ever remember our entire family going to, 1963. I love the movie. I just watched it a couple of weeks ago. My vision here was to have a rock wall that would go up to this window, and the kids could climb up the rock wall and look out the window. But I have not been able to gather enough rocks off of Craigslist to do that with, and I don't have time to make them. I ordered some from Amazon, and they came just too small and inadequate, so I'm going to send them back. I do have this cargo net. I got this cargo net from Sport Time. Sport Time was a physical education supply company, and in 1995 I was the National Elementary Physical Education Teacher of the Year. I did a lot of workshops around the country for them and with them, and they were located here in Atlanta, and I had access to their return bin. It was this huge box I could crawl into. And they would take returns back from any physical education company. It didn't matter. And this is one of the things I found there that one day. So I'm going to substitute the rock wall and put up the cargo net. I'm going to put it at an angle. I've cut a 2x4, drilled holes on 3-inch centers, and I'm going to lash it to that 2x4. So that's what I'm working on today, and I'll get started. Here's where I'm at. I've got the cargo net wedged in here between 2x, and now I'm going to put this cover plate over those to secure it, and then I'm going to lash it to this pole here. So that's what that looks like. Now I'll begin the lashing process. These holes are on 3-inch centers, and I just guessed how much rope I'm going to need here. I just guessed about everything here. I found as you get older, you can guess better. Wow. I can secure that with a staple, so that was a pretty good guess. I'm still not sure about this whole thing, but I'm going to lace the bottom up now. Yeah, I'm sweating. It's really humid today. I've already painted the 3rd story of the house, the under trim, but this thing is on my mind. I put the net up yesterday, got it all lashed in. It's pretty tight. Peyton was able to climb up to here with her feet, but then she had nothing to hold on to. Now, I don't want to obstruct the view up there, but I also want them to be able to climb up a little bit higher. I'd like them to put their feet here so I can put a landing right here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. The other thing, I'm not completely satisfied with how tight this is. It's pretty tight, but it's not as tight as I'd like it to be. I don't know exactly what my options are. I think I could put a cross member in a couple of spots across here and almost make it like a ladder, but that seems like it would detract from what I'm after. My other thought is to have a sideways portion of the net here. That way I can put some bars up here that they can hang on to, so they could theoretically come up here, come up here on the landing and be on the landing. I've got a piece of yellow pine for this. It's treated, but if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I keep some of this in reserve so it's nice and dry, so I can paint this today and the paint's going to stick. If you paint wet lumber, wet treated lumber, the paint will never stick. It's got to dry for 6 months to a year, depending on where you get it, what your source is, and how damp it is. If it repels water, it's not ready to paint. So I know this one's ready to paint. I just have to figure out if I want this thing to go straight up here or how straight it needs to be, and whether I want to put holes in it or just wrap it the way it is. I'm not a structural engineer, but I play one every day. Problem solving like this is what I'm hoping is going to keep my brain active and young. I guess I could do math problems all day. I couldn't do math problems when I was in high school. So what makes me think I can start doing them now? I'm just saying. So I've anchored this rope like this. I know that this stuff is going to stretch over time. It's manila rope. The rope I'm lacing it with is poly rope of some kind, nylon, but it's going to stretch. So I don't want to tie a knot in there. Now I'm going to go along and tighten this row up as much as possible. So I've been working on this for about an hour. Tightened all of these, took all of that off, put it back on, and then I screwed the cross member into the floor. I'm so much more happy with this. So I've used my clamps here to draw this as tight as I can. Right over here, I've added a little anchor so that hopefully will remain tight. And now I'll go up here and lace this side. It's so much tighter than it was yesterday. I'm much more pleased with it now. I'm going to go ahead and lace this side as tight as I can, and then I'll add that 2x4 onto this side rope to make it turn. Well, I ran out of rope, so I went to Lowe's. I've used an old chair caner's trick right here. I have this rope up here as tight as I possibly can. And I put that peg in there, and that's going to hold it as tight as it will for the rest of this lashing here. I've got a couple of boards up at 64 inches. That was a quick sweep. I've got a 2x4 ready to go across here. The kids are due home any minute. Kane's got a horse riding lesson, but I should be able to have her and Ethan come in here and squeeze to see if they can, just where I need to put this cross member. And that way I can go to town tomorrow. So the net's up. It's been kid tested. The clearance is going to be good. That's where I'll go tomorrow.